How Einstein's brain was different. Einstein was a scientist, and he was an incredibly intelligent man. He made some of the most important discoveries in our history, and his brain is one of them. It's also different from other people's brains. Well, you know, Einstein's brain was one of the most complete brains that has ever been studied. And it was also one of the very few brains that have been studied in detail by the time he died. So when we looked at this particular brain, we were able to see what was special about it. We also saw that there were no signs of any damage or disease in his brain. He had a very high IQ, but he also had some other qualities that made him really interesting. Did you know that Albert Einstein had a brain that was smaller than average? That's right. The physicist had one of the smallest brains on record, and it's thought that he had a hard time focusing as a result. Einstein's brain was smaller than average, which made him less able to focus. He also suffered from chronic insomnia, which is thought to have been caused by his brain being too small for him to rest properly. And in addition to all of this, Einstein's brain was very wrinkled compared to the rest of his body. This made him feel more tired and therefore more likely to fall asleep during lectures and other social events. Scientists have been studying Einstein's brain for nearly a century, and they found that it was a lot more complex than they'd expected. It had some parts that were very similar to those of humans, but others that were totally different. It has even been suggested that Einstein's brain could be used as a model for understanding how intelligence works in general. The thing that made Einstein's brain special was its density. While most people have about 100 billion neutrons in their brain, Einstein had about 1 billion, about 100 times fewer than most people have. He also had more glial cells than most people do, which are kind of like housekeepers for your neurons. Finally, it turns out that because he had so many neutrons packed into such a small space, it gave him an edge when it came to thinking fast. The more neutrons you have per cubic inch of space, the faster they can communicate with each other. This is why Einstein could come up with new ideas quickly, and why he was able to solve problems like how to slow down time, or how gravity could bend space-time itself, which we now call Einstein's theory of relativity. Researchers also discovered that his brain was full of folds and grooves called sulci, which helped him focus on complex ideas and figure out new ways of thinking about things. He also had great spatial reasoning skills, which allowed him to draw diagrams and create plans in his head without writing anything down or referring back to anything else. So the fact that we could find out all these things about him just through examining his brain is really amazing. And that's the end of our video on Einstein's brain. We hope you'll share it with your friends and family, and keep an eye out for future videos on interesting topics. Thanks so much for watching.